So I have a couple sessions here with you over the next hour or so, with a break in the middle. This one, I'm going to start at a higher level and really talk about AVEVA and what we see as the future of industry. And then after the break, I'll bring it home a little bit and speak more specifically to the HMI SCADA portfolio that I run and where we're going with that. I think that when we look at the full continuum of design, build, operate, and optimize, all the people in this room face an interesting set of challenges here today. We're sort of sitting at the crossroads of ongoing climate change. We also see far more in the way of geopolitical uncertainty. And as industry leaders, as industrial companies, we're some of the biggest consumers or users of energy. And for certain, in order to digitalize, in order to move forward with some of the things like generative AI, we need energy. So how do we manage this dichotomy, if you will? That's what I hope to show you some examples of, show you some insights around here over the next 30 minutes or so, and hopefully you take away some great ideas back into your individual organizations. Again, my name is Doug Warren. I lead AVEVA's global HMI SCADA business with all its legacy brands and some new things that we'll talk about a little bit here today. I hail from Calgary, Alberta, Canada, nestled right up against the Rocky Mountains, close to Banff, if any of you have had the pleasure of being there. But I really appreciate the opportunity, Eric and Dion, to come here and talk to a lot of your great partners and great users. Okay, so I think we all recognize the proliferation of data in industries. Companies now have access to a staggering amount of information. Some 147 zettabytes every year are produced. And the most interesting thing about that data, studies tell us that only about 68% of that data is actually used. So what an opportunity to reduce that waste and tap into some of the insights that data provides. I think it's quite fitting that here we sit in this Corpus conference center, Corpus, body, people. I think one of the biggest reasons why we're not seeing that data used better is it's not accessible to people. People still have to be involved. We're going to talk about generative AI and all the great and wonderful things that it can do for us, but people are still at the core, and the quicker we get those people connected to this vast amount of industrial data, the quicker we'll realize those insights and do something about them. I think this next statistic is quite interesting in that connecting people to that data is a key to our success, certainly. 40% of all companies, all industrial companies, by the end of next year will have some kind of a digital platform or ecosystem platform that they're using. And within that group, they will realize something a little greater than 7% greater outcomes, greater profitability in their organizations because of their use of that data. So I think that's an important statistic to look at in that as we look at these different technologies over the next day, which ones can you take back to your organizations? Which ones can you leverage? And the ecosystem word keeps coming up again and again, how important system integrators and OEMs and other development partners are to driving this forward. We certainly see many challenges, and a lot of you in this room would have come across these challenges already. One of the biggest ones, and our company is no different than yours, in the sense that information silos and breaking down those silos to access all of the information that's available is one of the most pervasive problems that I think we see. Another area is really an inconsistent data, gaps in data, maybe local teams almost hoarding some of that data, and where, to the extent that it's so time-consuming and almost prohibitive to go around and collect that data. By the time you get it, it's no longer valued. It's already stale. Its time has already passed. I think the next one really around our reactive treatment of issues, where we are burning time sort of solving problems reactively rather than using some of these tools, whether it's AI-based or otherwise, to predict and avoid those problems in the first place. We have a lot, especially in the OT world, we have a lot of disparate data sources. And sometimes we have that expert over in the corner who knows it very well, but he or she is about it. We don't see that obscure data and how we collect it and how we manage it. We don't see that across all of our organization, and that's obviously problematic. And then as we go through our day, we're bombarded by so many different tasks and issues. A lot of times, we don't find the time for collaboration. We don't find the time to talk about this issue or that piece of data and bring it together in a sense that we can actually do something significant about it. But with everyone in this room, we can take on these problems head on and hopefully change all of this, and really navigate through these challenges to fully realize the benefits and drive some sustainable growth going forward. So how will we do that? I'd say that last week, or 2 weeks ago, at Schneider Electric's Innovation Summit in Paris, we launched our new platform within AVEVA. We've got years and years of industrial and AI experience. I think Dion talked about Wonderware and how he was born into Wonderware some number of decades ago. Well, that experience is core to our business, regardless of what platform and what application. Our real value is in those subject matter experts. And at AVEVA, we seek to spark industrial ingenuity through, first of all, trusted intelligence, and that years of experience is where that trust comes from. Next, actionable insights. Without some action that these systems are driving, what have we done? We've maybe paved a cow path, and it might look pretty and all the rest of it, but we need to drive that action. And increasingly, we need to drive that action through a workforce that no longer has 20, 25 years of experience. So how do we give them insights and give them information in a way that they can execute on it immediately and drive a positive business outcome for us? Next is a unified experience. I think you can all agree that the people that we ask to operate in a plant of any form have a proliferation of software applications that they need to do their job. sort of moving from this application to that application to that application to the next one can be pretty daunting, really. So how do we provide them with a unified experience to sort of seamlessly glue all those applications together in a way that's far more intuitive and helps us get to that action quicker? And then, as I indicated earlier, the last piece of this is around an empowered ecosystem that provide their expertise, their innovations, to add even greater value to the platform as a whole. So with that, connect is how AVEVA is moving forward. And it is really what we see as the future of innovation and growth within the industrial area. We really want to provide an intuitive experience for everyone using shared information across this platform that we call Connect. We're really building it as the world's biggest industrial ecosystem. And you might think that's a pretty bold statement, but when you look at our sort of rich heritage, whether it came from Wonderware, whether it came from the Pi system, whether it came from our unified engineering tools that were part of that legacy AVEVA business based out of the UK, we have a lot of installed base, some almost 3 million licenses in the field, and we want to connect, sorry for the pun, but we want to connect each of those installed bases into this industrial platform, bringing together our partners, our software, and putting it in the hands of those of you who can benefit from it. It's really viewed, and you'll note that here we see only a small mention of AVEVA down here in the corner. We really want this. We see this as being an agnostic, open ecosystem. I think there's a lot of system integrators in the room today. We want you to be core developers within this platform. We want you to bring your expertise to this platform. So our expectations of our partners is going to shift a little bit. We want to unlock that deeper collaboration that I talked about earlier across different organizations and different industries. I think we need this because the future of industry lies in our ability to adapt, innovate, and harness the technology that's before us. And this really is what true intelligence looks like. So what does it mean for everyone here? We're really looking to unify our vision towards one set of data, one intelligent twin, one experience, and one empowered ecosystem. And really, it's that decades of experience that will provide you with the trust that has been built in a way that operates seamlessly and delivers the needs that you have expressed. It includes not only what AVEVA brings to the table, but also Schneider Electric, also some of the construction tools of RIB, and some of the electrical design expertise of ETAP, all part of our one software organization. And really, I want to stress the fact that because it's agnostic, it's open to everyone. You can continue to grow and add more trusted applications with the help of our partners. our customers and other software companies like Microsoft. That's really where we see this going. And the foundation of all of this is the work that we've been doing for the last, let's call it 4 years, since the merger of AVEVA and Schneider Electric Software, and then adding the PI system a couple of years later. Really putting that all together into a single, cohesive, end-to-end digital twin has been a huge effort for us, and it's really sort of coming together on Connect. This digital twin that includes every nut and bolt placement in a facility, every valve, every schematic, every machine, and every data point. And you can use tools like what you'll see out in the expo area, tools like Unified Operations Center, to visualize all of that in one place. Where and you can see it there, where we see KPIs for empowering decision making and training sessions. Really, it's designed to cut the cost of experimentation and innovation and increase your speed to resolving problems or speed to getting a new product to market. So imagine this evolution of industry, and the assets required to pump out widgets in a widget factory, generate electricity, or make bread. Whatever it happens to be, make it very, very circular, and start with the design at the beginning of the digital twin, designing the asset with all the engineering disciplines working together simultaneously in different parts of the world. Maybe you have a design center in India, you've got an OEM in Korea, and ultimately that's going into a plant that will be sitting in the Netherlands, all working together simultaneously at the same time in our unified engineering tools. So that's really something that we see, saving all of the data that has been generated in that design phase for the next phase in the overall process as we work towards starting up that plant and getting it into production. Then we move to the build phase, where we take all of those models and all of that data that you generated in the build or in the design phase, and add construction planning, resource planning, contracts management, and the costing elements. Here we also do extensive checkouts, commissioning, calibration, and verifying those design specs against the as-builts. More data, more context, all automatically added to that digital twin that we talked about a couple minutes ago. Then we move to the operate phase, and this is, of course, my favorite part. Given my affinity for our HMI SCADA business, that's where we live, where now the client moves from that commissioning phase and into production, where they actually start making money, moving from CapEx to OpEx, and adding rich operational data, whether it comes from our HMI SCADA tools or whether it comes from our PI system. That's where that operational data starts adding to the digital twin. And that can come in the form of history, time series data. That can come in the form of events that are associated with that time series data, golden batches, optimal startup and shutdown sequences, maintenance procedures, quality and lab information. The list goes on and on and on. But you can see that digital twin is being enhanced each step along the way. And hopefully, if we've done our job right, and we've taken all that information and collected it into our digital twin, we now have an opportunity to optimize how we're doing it, to optimize throughput, to optimize quality, to optimize energy consumption, or optimize our carbon footprint. Whatever our end objective is, we now have all that information in one place to be able to do it. Something which is certainly almost next to impossible, or at minimum, you're starting from scratch at each different phase. If that data is siloed or trapped in other disparate systems. That's our goal, to bring that together into one place. You can call it whatever you like. In this case, I'm referring it as a digital twin, but I think you get the idea. And this is what we're doing with Connect at the top, an ability to share that data across your enterprise and certainly others, regardless of where you started across the overall asset life cycle, whether you're in the design phase, in the build phase, in the operate phase, in the optimize phase. We really believe that this platform will revolutionize how industry works, and the ability to share data across all of the aspects of that life cycle is our key objective. And in a way that, let's say, generic hyperscalers have failed to accomplish. Information in the context of the asset and where that asset sits in an overall data hierarchy. And of course, I would be remiss if I didn't stress once again, what's the linkage to these other parts of the AVEVA business? I think what we'll see over the coming short time, a business like mine, our HMI SCADA business, within AVEVA, if I'm not a data source for Connect, or if I'm not a consumer of data streams that come from Connect, I would question how that fits into AVEVA's overall strategy. So I live and breathe right here. Many of the integrators and people are highly familiar with our PI System business as well. These two critical installed bases are key data sources for what's driving this whole platform. And as well, I've obviously mentioned AVEVA Engineering and some of our 3D design tools, an important start of the digital twin. And many of you clearly recognize that in the past, this data stopped here and didn't go anywhere. Well, with Connect, everything feeding upwards, we'll build that consolidated digital twin, and I'll show you a couple examples of how it can be used. Now, even though I said earlier that Connect, as we see it here, was officially launched at Schneider Electric's Innovation Summit in Paris a couple weeks ago. It's actually been going on for some time, and I think you can see some evidence of that in the expo, and I think another presentation later on today. I'm also happy to say that this is not just something that's aspirational. It's here, it's now, and here's a quick list of some of the partners, some of the ecosystem partners who are early adopters for Connect. So we see net new use cases, net new solutions coming all the time. And while we'll continue to add to the platform and it'll continue to get better and better, I'd like to say that we're off to a really great start. So rather than just me talking about it, I'm going to take a quick look. I'm going to show you a couple of different use cases where we've used Connect to enable this end-to-end digital twin. So we'll start by logging into Connect and take a look at all the entitlements that I have. I'm going to go down to the visualization tile, and I'm going to look at in this case, a wind farm with all of its main operational KPIs. Now, I can drill down on any one of these assets in my wind farm and see more and more data. In this case, actuals versus expected, sort of a utilization timeline for how it's operating today. And then that scroll bar, I'm just going to go back and look at how things worked yesterday. And when I talked about context, here we are pulling up a 3D model that came from the engineering or design side of the digital twin, and I can interact with that model. In this case, just looking at some dimensions, if I have some maintenance planning to do, that kind of thing. Aside from the 3D model, I can also look at other 1D and 2D engineering artifacts. In this case, I'm pulling up a maintenance manual, but you can see I didn't have to go looking for this. It's part of my digital twin. It's linked. It's in context with the asset that I picked. So hopefully this gives you a little bit of a view of what we can do. And again, I invite you to see a Unified Operations Center working in the demo, because it really illustrates this is not Power BI. There's a whole bunch more going on here. This is not a static dashboard. This is a visualization of a digital twin that has near real-time data in it and accesses data across the life cycle of that digital twin. A mixture of operational, maintenance, and engineering data, all brought together in one set of views that generally is quite different than HMI SCADA. Some of the visualization technologies stem from what we've done in HMI SCADA in the past, but this is a higher level sort of business decision support system that often connects a number of different control systems, a number of different assets, a number of different plants at a higher level, giving you more of an operational cockpit view of how you're running your business and your assets. What I'd like to do is give you a real-life example. I'm not going to spend a ton of time on it, but again, a connection between system platform, our lighthouse sort of SCADA offer, and some of the things that Connect can bring. You might be familiar with Acciona. They are a global leader in constructing and operating water treatment facilities, purification plants, and desalination plants. More than half of the world's population is affected by water scarcity, and Acciona is one of those companies that seeks to change that. I think water treatment is sort of a human, or clean water, access to clean water is sort of a human right, and Acciona is one of those companies that helps provide it around the world. AVEVA was brought in to really help them increase water production and reduce energy use. So it speaks to that sustainability need, but also that increase in efficiency, increase in output, increase in throughput. So we came in and did sort of a pilot on one of their reverse osmosis plants, and with these goals in mind. And like I said, it's based on system platform, streaming data through what we call in Connect, our Connect data services, and then on into advanced analytics. So that is an AI, ML module that is designed to be used by engineers, not necessarily data scientists, engineers who know the process, who know the asset, and can quickly configure a model through, without having to know all the details of the model, through a simple-to-use wizard to connect the data source with often competing algorithms to see what provides the best outcome, and then take that outcome and send it back to the SCADA platform in the plant itself for action. So again, completing that overall loop. The client, in going into this pilot, let's say, said that if they could achieve 1% energy savings, then they would consider it a success. And we're happy to report that we exceeded their expectations by about 5 times. A 4.6% decrease in energy consumption, while at the same time increasing the flow through this particular train within a reverse osmosis plant by about 16 meters cubed an hour. So big success, and again, highlighting a connection directly to system platform. Okay, so that's, we showed you the UOC. We talked a little bit about the Acciona use case, and now, sort of in follow-up of what Eric started to talk about in terms of generative AI, we're going to give you a glimpse of what we're working on at AVEVA right now in the application of generative AI in an industrial context. Okay, so again, rather than just me talking about it with slides, I'm gonna roll this video and sort of walk through it. So you might, this is actually one of the wind farm assets that I showed you in the UOC. Our friend GE07. We're going to click in the upper corner and pull up our AI assistant, our industrial AI assistant, and noting that we had an outage, I'm going to type in a question. A lower than expected output over the last few hours. Are there any issues that you should raise to my attention? And the AI assistant comes back and says, it was stopped due to high temperature for about an hour. It gives me a little bit more information. But at the end of the day, the turbine is stopped. I wonder why that is. Do you have a utilization dashboard? I'm looking for some clues on why it was stopped. So it pulls up the utilization dashboard, and I see stopped on high temperature at a certain time of day. Okay, that's better. There was a high temperature event. Can you find me all of the bearing and nacelle temperatures over the last 12 hours? I'm trying to isolate this problem. So it goes to work and comes back with a number of different bearing temperatures that went high all at the same time. So that's a bit unusual because it's usually only one. So what connects them all together? I'm not quite sure. I'm going to pull up an actual trend here, and so you can see I'm accessing real operational information, try to figure out sort of what my next step is. So it says something caused all those bearing temperatures to go high. I'm typing this in. Can you find me the maintenance manual to help me connect this problem together? So like I showed you in the UOC, where I was accessing other 1D and 2D information, I'm pulling up this maintenance manual. Going through to try to find something, I'm going 150 pages. I'm too lazy. I'm a Gen Zer. I'm not going to read all that. I'm going to go back to my AI assistant. Does it have any information on causes of high bearing temperature? And you notice some fat fingering. The generative AI model can manage all that. So it comes back right away with these 3 things and a temperature control valve or a coolant control valve connects all of those multiple problems together. So now I'm going to take a look at where that is if I want to actually do something about it. So I'm going to pull up the 3D model. Here we go. So I can take a look. You saw me use those dimensional things earlier. If I want to plan some maintenance, now I can take a look, I can twirl it around. Everything's in context. Everything takes me right where I need to go. This is GE07 and the 3D model associated with it, and that is where that temperature control valve is. Now, can you write me a summary of the conversation that we just had so I can plug it into my maintenance work order? There it is, spits it out right away, all formatted and ready to push into my work order. And further, if this particular wind farm happened to be in the North Sea and and all the maintenance work was being done by a company in Denmark, whatever, I could quickly convert all that to Danish and stab that into my work order. I think the other thing that's really, really vital, Eric talked about using ChatGPT and how it took some amount of time to sort of ingest all of the documents that he put into it. In an industrial context, we understand the fact that a lot of your data is highly confidential. When you look at everything that I showed you that was highlighted in blue, that was a customer's data. That is not accessible on the public side. So the special sauce that AVEVA has integrated into our industrial AI assistant, the special sauce is really that separation of public data from your own data. We get the fact that data and data security is highly important to all of our industrial companies, and so we keep those two things separate. Lastly, I'd say, how far in the future do you think this is? Is this Star Wars, or is this something that will come to a AVEVA Select distributor near you in short order? Our industrial AI assistant launches in August 2024. That's approximately 12 weeks away. We're just in the final throes of that initial release. This is real, this is now, and this leverages a lot of the technologies that we've talked about here between Connect and a broader digital twin. So with that, I'm a little bit over, but we'll take a bit of a break. And I would say that these conferences are as much about the connections that you make as they are about looking at some of these different technologies. So take advantage of the time, do some networking, build some connections, and spark your ingenuity. Thank you very much. We'll see you after the break.